Good morning. Welcome to the Finance Committee for May 24th. Start with Charlie.
Yeah, not too much today. I think, it's probably been 32 hours since we had a nice budget conversation last Wednesday night. So that's the main focus still. And I'll be working through Memorial Day weekend to get that manager's request in. We have everything in. Thank you for Tammy for coming up to the war room a couple times on some of the last outstanding questions. But I think I have what I need from the last council meeting, both on like the encumbering and the lack of reconciliation and how we sort of manage that to the general fund balance, so we can sort of, especially on the Red Bridge Road project. That was the big one, plus the ARPA tagging, just to current projects and nothing new, so we can kind of keep the mill as low as possible this year. So that is my main focus through the week, so that we can come back on Tuesday. We've already got the third round of departmental kind of check-ins so that they can say, hey, here's the manager's request based on recommendations, before we talk to council. So it's pretty much all Tuesday and a little bit of Wednesdays booked with those final meetings. And Nate and Ashley and everybody will be up there during those meetings, and Mike, and we'll kind of be updating the digital book in real time. I think that's one of the nice things now too is, we don't have to send Excel sheets here, there, and everywhere. We just have the team to update it in real time, so that on Wednesday we'll print and get you all the new budget books, and then we'll put the draft budget also online, so that the citizens can see, which I think will be the first time that's an online version like that in real time. And then we'll work towards council recommendation based on the manager's recommendation, and we'll be finalized. So that's the update on the budget books. One small thing, which is actually still under Knowlton Park budget for this year, but Jim has been working hard on the slides at Knowlton Park. So I think we've got some progress, looking like the end of June. It'll probably be, around 2,000 to fix the current slide, but the vendor we're talking to from Bangor thinks they can, they're a certified vendor to fix this kind of things, thinks they can get the big slide done by end of June. Still working on the kitty slide. The triple slide is probably not an option, but we think we can retrofit it down to a 2, and kind of go from there. Also heard from Ashley that it is very used, and the splash park's up and used in the day and at night, I guess, as well. So she lives overlooking Knowlton Park. Seems like an exciting scene. So those are my big things right now. I know we have our ordinance committee is here to kind of talk about the healthcare changes or healthcare option changes that we're considering. So, and I've got a meeting actually with our new deputy chief coming up at 8:30 here. So with that, I'll send it over to Nate, and then we'll give it to the rest of the team.
Hello. All right, so obviously we have a lot we're working on with the budget book, like you said. I'm also working with the auditor. Actually, I have a meeting at 9 o'clock today to kind of go over reconciliations, and I have a team I'm working with to try to answer questions to them and get that done as soon as possible. Also worked with Tammy yesterday, just try to get some things in order as far as like we have the TAN coming up, so we're sending it out for bid. Working with the school on their SRF loan that they're working on. So those are the things that are the priority right now. But obviously the main one is the budget book, which, like I said, we'll get done this upcoming week. And that's about all I have going on right now. There's a lot, but
That's it?
There's a lot, but those are the big things right now. One day at a time. That's all I can say.
right.
One day at a time. So, but that's it for me. You can ask me questions. Ashley, you have anything else, or we're good? And then we can send it off to them.
So I wanted to, Ashley let me know yesterday that the ARPA funds, as they sit in our cash account, it earns interest.
Okay, so it is earning interest, and we'll have to account for that with.
So that means we'll have more ARPA funds, but we're gonna have to reduce revenue from prior years for interest income.
For interest income, and account for that when we.
Because $1
report
million
back to the-
at 4.25%, it's like 42,500 a year.
Okay.
Yeah, we looked at that last night.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have to.
I mean, it will be drawn down, it will be,
Yeah, I'm just, okay, we'll talk about that as part of the budget piece. We might have to, just figure out, make sure the accounting's,
Yeah.
correct on that. Okay. Well, good, fine.
yeah.
Yeah, and then once we, right, well, I'll think about, yeah, I'm trying to think of how we spend that, I guess, when I'm thinking of the budget, the things we tag, and when we spend that, and when those accounts can be drawn, and when we can kind of close that out, whether that's gonna be this year, whether it has to be next year for our final, kind of will depend on when those projects actually go forward, but we can talk about that later.
Do we need to account for that interest in the funds when we do report?
Yeah, there's a little bit here, and then Ashley's gonna send me some information. Could you also send that to Michelle? as
Yeah.
well? Okay. So that's pretty significant. It's been since, what, 2020? Released in
Yeah, I believe it was,
21, so
yeah.
you've got like 3 years. I mean, you could get another $100,000.
Right.
Maybe, pretty close. For, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is. You have to return it if you don't.
Right.
Right, so we,
But you're gonna probably.
and we can talk later, Ashley. I've got a couple other, just on,
Ashley.
on what we also have to.
Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I wanna check out the requirements on that. Cool. Do you wanna hand it over to Carrie?
Yes, we are just, I have some stuff to pass out. I know it's a lot of information, and I just printed something downstairs here, let's go grab it. So, I apologize for all of this paper I'm about to give you, but, it's mostly just to kind of help, kind of help explain what we are trying to do. I have a little narrative I've put together that outlines everything, and so,
Can you send that to me digitally
yeah, I
as
can
well?
send it all, I mean, if you.
No, because I send it to the entire council, so
Oh,
I'll
perfect.
include that, yeah.
Absolutely, that would be great, yep, I can do that. I have spreadsheets and all that too, but I do not wanna print those out too, because I think it might be a little bit of a
Tammy loves spreadsheets.
I do love spreadsheets.
Better get her spreadsheets or she'll be mad.
Do you want us to just pass those down for you?
Yeah.
That would be great.
Oh, you want to-
Time on these, Phil?
Yep. And I will go check and see where we're at with, I saw an error on my narrative.
Same thing? No.
No, they're not.
This is the HR committee?
Yes.
Okay.
And the sort of, the general plan versus going back to having two options for.
Like the internal HR committee, right? Or is, okay.
It's personal ordinance.
Personnel ordinance committee, okay.
No, I don't think so. Well,
No, it's not.
yeah.
Yeah, and they're just passing it around the table here. I need one so that I can keep on track of what I did. And I couldn't do one to our group. Well, thank you. Yeah, I did. Okay. It was just the number.
I tried to do it yesterday.
Updated.
Tuesday was the only appreciation.
Swear I should still.
It was weird.
Yeah, because we need to have it recorded.
This morning, I was like, I know, but they do Friday night. I wish I did today, it was today.
You know what we can do? We can run that first thing in the morning.
That's what we need to do.
And then give them cheese Thursday morning.
That's what we need to do.
Yeah, we'll start doing that. I'll set a reminder.
Okay, good morning. Sorry for all of the paper. The last sheet that went around is a narrative that kind of sums up what we are proposing to do. Currently, we offer one health insurance plan for our employees, and we would like to offer two. We have the capability to offer up to three, but we would like to be able to offer two plans based on some of the requests from employees. And I've done all of the research, spoke with the Health Trust who facilitates our health insurance plans, and talked to them about what we would need to do to make these changes. We've run the numbers, we've done the calculations and the figures so that, because of course the second plan that we'd like to introduce is more expensive, but we've done it in a way so that the employees would absorb the cost of that, and it wouldn't fall on the taxpayers. So that's what you have in front of you, is employee surveys that went out last fall to kind of get some feedback from the employees to see what their thoughts were on paying more for a better plan, if they would be willing to do that. And some of the figures, which I have the spreadsheets that I will forward.
Sorry.
And just kind of outlining costs and what we would like to do.
So we'd be going from, the two plans would be the PPO 2500s, which we currently have right now,
Yes,
correct?
correct. Yep.
Going to the POSC, which is what we had before.
Yes, correct. Yep.
What does that do for unions?
So for unions, I've calculated everything based on their current rates that are set in their contracts. The non-union employees would pay double the premium that they currently pay for the POSC. But for all the unions, we just left it at what they're currently paying, which is more than the non-union employees, of course, so. Yeah. So as far
But they
as.
could choose either plan two, they
Yep.
would just pay their percentage of it?
Yep, I think that we would have to probably do a side agreement, because I think the PPO is outlined in all of their contracts. So if we did a side agreement, there's potential that we would have to wait until negotiations come up again. I wouldn't advise that. I think if we did a side agreement to offer, that just kind of, an addendum that says, hey, here's the two plans that the employees can choose from, and that they'll pay the percentage that's outlined in the CBA.
But so the employees are covering the entirety of the increase in costs out of their check?
Yep. So some of this, so we have an HRA with the PPO. We currently fund that budget for 50% of that, because we're not exhausting the HRA for everybody, which is a good thing. That means our employees are healthy. But we are running about 40% a year on that HRA, that we're about 40% of the 100. I'm currently working on getting the exact numbers from from Group Dynamics. They facilitate the HRA. I tried getting the numbers yesterday, but their reporting is very challenging, so I'm hoping that they can just get us a total, and I can have that. But I did run the numbers back in the fall, and we were running historically about 40% each year. So that's something that, if we're budgeting 50%, that's what I'm considering. We're looking at the PPO with a 50% HRA payout, not the full, so that's, the HRA, it's a bit of a gamble, because you don't know. You could have a year where people exhaust all of their HRAs. You could have a year where everyone's in great health and they're not, so that is a little bit of a gamble, but we have accounted for, I do have the numbers actually for the HRA at a 40% cost, which is about what we're running, and we're still evening out, essentially. It's actually a little cheaper to go with the PPO, the POSC, with the employee paying a higher percentage than it is to go with the PPO and the HRA even at a 40%.
So would they still get the HRA even
No.
on Oh, okay,
No.
all right. I
No.
was like, they shouldn't.
No,
No,
if
they-
they're if the employees enroll in the POSC, they would not get the HRA. If they stay with the PPO, they would. And so that's just to, offset the cost of the deductibles. Yeah. And then they have, it's sort of something that would just kind of be a benefit for the employee to choose, because they could switch back and forth from year to year on those plans. So, and we did the survey basically to try to get an idea of how many people would switch. And you're not going to have all 80 employees switch over to the better plan. There are a lot of employees that are perfectly happy with the plan that they currently have, And I think that it's something that you might see, those with more healthcare needs would probably switch, but those are the employees that are already exhausting their HRA. Those are the people that are gonna switch over to the better plan.
So it only looks like about 50% would move over.
Yeah,
Is that
and-
from all employees? Like, we're talking,
The total number of people that took the survey, because it's not always
42.
easy to get full
I know.
participation in surveys, so, I did two, and there was 42 people that did, the first one with specifics about the POSC switch, and then 56 people took the other one, so, I mean, really, it wasn't too bad of a turnout, response rate, considering we have about 80 people enrolled. So, yeah, I think, it's, probably, I would say, probably about 50%. It's difficult to predict, though. I mean, you don't really know. And with new people coming in, you don't really know what to expect. Would they want a lower premium cost? I think that a lot of people probably would, if they know, oh, well, I can have this plan that's pretty comprehensive and pay a lower premium each week, then they probably would go with that. But there's no way to predict, for
Right.
new hires coming in.
so when would you, like, what are the next steps?
So if we do go this route, basically we would obviously budget for all of this FY '25 budget, and the enrollment process wouldn't begin until January 1st. So the Health Trust, who facilitates our health insurance, runs on a calendar year, not a fiscal year. So all of their changes and things go into effect January 1st, which is why I've noted, we have budgeted for an increase, an anticipated increase in the overall premiums, but that's when we would allow people to start to switch. The plan, if they wanted to, would be January.
Okay, so
Yeah.
like open enrollment.
Exactly. Yep, we would
Okay.
run on an open enrollment.
So you'd only be affected like the 6 months.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
And so it would just, it'd be cleaner that way, it'd be easier to manage. Yep.
Has the city had more than one option before, health insurance, or?
I don't know, Michelle, do you know of any?
I don't remember it. I don't
It was
know.
always
It was a
POSC,
but I
and then
remember.
some people like POSA, but that was like for retirees, and like Gloria Austin's on there. I know it was on there.
Yeah.
So I
All I
think there
remember is
was,
the
I don't know,
POSC,
yeah.
yeah.
there was-
Yep.
So as I understand it, no additional cost to taxpayers gives city employees more options and they want that. So
Correct.
Trying to
It
find-
can be,
I'm
depending on the
sitting there thinking,
HRA.
what's the
it can be.
downfall?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I'd say the one
Yes.
downfall, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Carrie, but is for your PPO 2,500 folks, they're going from a 7% match to a 10% match.
Correct.
Now, those who choose to go to the PUSC are going to go to a 15%.
Correct.
And that's what makes everything budget neutral on this offering of both plans. So, yeah, your sort of net negative is people who like their current plan but are going to pay. But even at 10% match, it's it's still lower than any organization I've ever been a part of by a magnitude of probably 2 to 3. So it's a pretty reasonable health plan. Plus the amount of the HRA that we offer. I mean, that's a pretty good deal, and we probably should be increasing that to stay budget conscious anyway. So.
That's an excellent point, thank you, Charlie, because that is something too that I think that we need to consider regardless, is increasing that employee contribution from 7 to 10 for non-unions, just because it hasn't been, and I don't know the last time it was increased. I don't know if you might have some insight into that, Tammy, but it hasn't been since I've been here, and I've been here for 9 years. So, if we have the numbers, if we go from the 7 to 10, it is a minimal increase, but with the increased costs, the premiums are increasing each year. Like last year, it was a 5.5% increase for the PPO. But the employee contribution has remained the same. So we do think that going to a 10% for non-union would be fair at this point, and that we should do that regardless of whether we offer 2 plans or not, just to kind of offset, the premium increases. And we would definitely do that with, if we offered the 2, absolutely. And that does offset some of that. I do have the numbers, and when I send my spreadsheet, you'll see that, reflecting what it would cost if we were to increase the HRA for all employees, because the unions have a higher HRA rate than non-union. Not all of them, but a good portion of them. And so if we were to increase that HRA for everybody, even budgeting at a 50%, it is significantly higher than if we do the two-plan option. Yeah. And I do have that on my table, which is with your little narrative, but it's a lot of information, and to me, it makes sense, but, you know, I've got percentages and stuff in there that it may not be so clear to people that don't live in this world, so. But I have it all in the spreadsheet. I'm happy to send it over so you can review it that way.
Karen, HRA plans and the amount that you can charge employees or book with employees, is that regulated at all?
Not that I'm aware of, no. But it's an excellent question. I can look into it.
Usually when you do those kind of plans, there's some kind of a line that or amounts that you have to adjust if you do the plans as far as what.
You know, I was thinking about this too. That's a good question to follow up on, but maybe that's the
Yeah.
HSA.
Oh.
Oh, I know HSAs are, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why the
That's why I didn't know
HRA, I was
if
wondering.
HRAs were too, I just.
Yeah.
Because
And
I was
those-
wondering, can you
Yeah.
take this off your taxes? Can you, and then realize, because
Yeah.
it was in my original contract, I was like, what is this 6,000? This is, and then when you see this insurance plan, you realize why that's in there.
And they're fully funded by the city. The employee doesn't contribute to it at all. And so it's something that, I mean, if someone doesn't use it, I mean, then we don't, that money just stays, which is good. If we have healthy people and they're not using their insurance a lot, and then that HRA just, yeah, and it's great. And it's not, sorry, I keep doing that. It's not rolling over from year to year or anything, so, which is also a benefit.
We just pay like weekly, or whenever they send us a bill.
Yes, every
saying
week.
Somebody has, and we're using the cards.
So the cards are used for prescriptions only.
Oh,
Otherwise,
okay.
it's a reimbursement process that, so if I go to the doctor, my doctor will bill the insurance will pay their portion, and then they forward that remaining balance to Group Dynamics, who then processes the remaining portion of the bill. And then employees have so much to use, and once that's gone, it's gone, and then they'll have to pay any remaining amount throughout the year if they exhaust their HRA.
Was the committee kind of, they like this recommendation, or was there any naysayers in here?
No, we were all fine with upping the percentage from 7 to 10% for the employee contribution. We were all on board.
I mean, there would always,
Careful, Nate's gonna yell at you if you don't go to the microphone.
Um,
Fair warning. I don't want you getting in trouble, Reggie.
He gets in enough trouble.
Yeah.
So question the cost. This chart that you have, this POSC under 2024 monthly premiums of single is $980.99.
Correct.
And that doesn't include what the city is contributing through the HRA plan.
For the POSC, there is no HRA.
Okay, let's go
Yeah.
over to the,
For
so
the-
there's no HRA qualifications for that?
Correct, yep,
Okay, so that's their premium.
yes.
And-
Well,
and
that's
we're-
the total premium that doesn't
This
show.
divided.
Yes, it would be, yep.
And I gave you some information about America's Back Office that has, we're buying $500 deductible Blue Cross Blue Shield plan for less than that POC. Did you look at that?
I do have it. No, I have not reviewed it, no.
Yeah, I mean, the employee could get a lot bigger bang for their dollar. I mean, through that plan. And the city could choose many plans from that company. It's just something to think about it, because even if if you can lower the overall premium, you're lowering, call it a percentage, anything you want, but if you're lowering the overall starting premium, you're lowering everybody's costs. And if you know, we, a little tiny company, are buying a $500 deductible plan, not a $2,500 deductible, for less than that $980. It's just something to think about.
It certainly is. That would require extensive research. We have other benefits that are facilitated through the Health Trust that would affect this. So that's part of it. I think, given the climate right now, and we just don't have the time to do that research. Doesn't mean that we won't, maybe next year. That's something that it is something we should look into. Given that I'm a one-person department, right now it's just not feasible to do. I think it is within the city's best interest to start looking and doing those things. Like, what is out there that we don't have? What can we offer? What is a cheaper cost? Absolutely, I do appreciate that. It's just at this point, we have not had the time, I do not have the time to do that research. But it doesn't mean that we don't want to, that we're not open to it, because it is a good idea, and we certainly, I mean, it's a benefit for everybody, employees, city as a whole, to
That's
do
my
that
point.
research. Absolutely, and I totally agree with you, we just haven't,
And we don't necessarily have to tag this to the budget cycle in some ways, right? Because this is budget neutral, the way Carrie and team has designed it, gives employees options, seems recommended, and we can, you know, once we get through this, I think we can start looking into that America's Back Office and maybe others that.
I'm not just
first we-
saying them, but we're buying, I mean, as a small company, we're buying some fabulous benefits for a lot lower cost.
yes, absolutely.
Hey, Councilor Halloran, you had sent me that information back when I was HR, and I did look into it and talked to your rep, and because of our size, the cost was a little bit different than for your smaller company. And when I looked at it back in 2021, when you provided it to me, the covered services were far less comprehensive than what our current plan covers. So yes, it's a cheaper plan, but the coverage it fell in line with that cheaper plan. And so I did not pursue that option in 2021. Carrie certainly may look at it in the future, but in 2021, the conversation I had with your rep, it didn't seem like it was gonna be a fair swap for the employee.
First of all, they're not my rep, and I'm just telling you that what you looked at isn't what they offer. You know, you're not getting, a $500 deductible plan is unheard of.
No, it sounded good, and I did talk to the company that you're using in 2021, and the coverage was not great.
Yeah, no, we gotta look into it, yeah, you know, until we have these sheets and we can say that, you know, based on.
I'm just
current, so.
saying that, you know, I'm saying it's worth looking
Yep,
into.
100%, and, you know, whether it's
I
that.
don't care if it's that company or another, but their benefits are just, the dollar that you're paying for those benefits are incredibly good.
And I've got to zip to this meeting.
Yeah.
Sorry, but anything else for me on the way out?
I don't have anything. Do you-
Great. Looking
Anyone from the public? Any other staff? No? Okay. Great.
Thanks
Awesome.
for
Thank you so
all of our
much.
work.
Absolutely, thank you for your time.
Excited about this slide, Patrick.
I was relieved to hear that.
I was too, like Jim was saying.